Trading cultures developed. Many cultures settled and developed in Greece. Two of the earliest were the Minoans and the Mycenaeans. By 2000 BC, the Minoans have built an advanced society on the island of Crete. Crete lay south of the Aegean in the eastern Mediterranean. Later, the Mycenaeans built towns on the Greek mainland. These two civilizations influenced the entire Aegean region and helped shape later cultures in Greece. The Minoans. Because they lived on an island, the Minoans spent much of their time at sea. They were among the best shipbuilders of the time. Minoan ships carried goods such as wood, olive oil, and pottery all around the eastern Mediterranean. They traded goods for copper, gold, silver, and jewels. Although Crete's location was excellent for Minoan traders, its geography had its dangers. Sometime in the 1600 BC, a large volcano erupted just north of Crete. This eruption created a giant wave that flooded much of Crete. In addition, the eruption threw up huge clouds of ash, raining crops and burying cities. This eruption may have led to the end of Minoan civilizations. Mycenaeans. Although they lived in what is now Greece and influenced Greece society, historians don't consider the Minoans to be Greek. This is because the Minoans didn't speak the Greek language. The first people to speak Greek, and therefore the first to be considered Greek were Mycenaeans. While the Minoans were sailing the Mediterranean, the Mycenaeans were building fortresses all over the Greek mainland. The largest and most powerful fortress was Mycenae, after which the Mycenaeans were named. By the mid-1400s, Minoan society had declined. That decline allowed the Minoans to take Crete and become the major traders in the eastern Mediterranean. They set up colonies in northern Greece and Italy, from which they shipped goods to markets around the Mediterranean and Black Seas. The Mycenaeans don't think trade had to be conducted peacefully. They often attracted other kingdoms. Some of historians think that Mycenaeans attacked the city of Troy, possibly starting the legendary Trojan War, which featured in many works of literature. Mycenaean society began to fall apart in the 12th BC, when invaders from Europe swept into Greece. At the same time, earthquakes destroyed many cities. As Mycenaeans civilization crumbled, Greece slid into a period of warfare and disorder, a period called the Dark Age. Greeks create city-states. The Greeks of the Dark Age left no written records. All that we know about the period comes from archaeologists' findings. About 300 years ago, after the Mycenaean civilization crumbled, the Greeks started to join together in small groups for protection and stability. Over time, these groups set up independent city-states. The Greek word for a city-state is polis. The creation of a city-state marks the beginning of what is known as Greece's classical age. A classical age is one that marked by great achievements. Life in a city-state. A Greek city was usually built around a strong fortress. This fortress often stood on top of the high hill called the Acropolis. The town around the Acropolis was surrounded by walls for added protection. Not everyone who lived in the city-state actually lived inside the city walls. The farmers, for example, usually lived near the fields outside the walls. In times of war, however, women and children and elderly people all gathered inside the city walls for protection. As a result, they remained safe while the men of the polis formed an army to fight off its enemies. Life in a city often focused on a marketplace or agoria. In Greek, farmers brought their crops into the market to trade for goods made by craftsmen in the town. Because it was large open space, the market also served a meeting place. People held both political and religious assemblies in the market. It often contained the shops as well. The city-state became the foundation of Greek civilization. Besides providing security for its people, the city gave themselves an identity. People thought of themselves as residents of the city, not as Greeks. Because the city-state was so central to their lives, the Greeks expected people to participate in its affairs, especially in its economy and its government. City-states and colonization. Life in Greece eventually became more settled. People no longer had to fear raiders swooping down on their cities. As a result, they were free to think about things other than defense. Some Greeks began to dream of becoming rich through trade. Others became curious about neighboring lands around the Mediterranean Sea. Some also worried about how to deal with Greeks' growing population. Despite the different reasons, all these people eventually reached the same idea. The Greeks should establish colonies. Before long, groups from city-states around Greece began to set up colonies in distant lands. After they were set up, Greek colonies became independent. In other words, each colony became a new polis. In fact, some cities that began as colonies began to create colonies of their own. Eventually, Greek colonies spread all around the Mediterranean and Black Seas. Many big cities around the Mediterranean today began as Greek colonies. Among them are Istanbul in Turkey, Marseille in France, and Naples in Italy. Patterns of trade. Although the colonies were independent, they often traded with city-states in Greece. The colonies sent metals such as copper and iron back to mainland Greece. Copper and iron back to mainland Greece. In return, the Greek city-states sent wine, olive oil, and other products. Trade made the city-states much richer because of their location. Some city-states became great trading centers. By 550 BC, the Greeks had become the greatest traders in the whole Aegean region. Greek ships sailed to Egypt and cities around the Black Sea.